Join us for a special News Nation report. UFO reporter, the George Knapp Files, the world-renowned journalist known for his reporting on the UFO question, opens his archives only to News Nation. News Nation's senior national correspondent Brian Enton traveled to Las Vegas to talk to George, and you said you were interested especially in how he got into this whole thing, because he's really groundbreaking in what he's sort of uncovered.
Yeah, because he was sort of a traditional investigative reporter, specialized in the mob, because the mob was big in Vegas in the 80s, of course, right? Yeah. So that was sort of his thing, and I'm like, how did you transition from that to the UFO guy? You never intended for it to be that way. Kind of like us, honestly, with News Nation. I mean, it sort of just popped up. We got the interview with David Grush and then started running with it. Same thing sort of happened to him. There was this stack of papers in the newsroom from a guy named John Lear. His dad invented the Learjet. He was also into aviation, had been looking into UFOs. George came across the papers, and that sort of started the whole thing. Take a look at a piece of the special. So you were a popular news anchor, popular investigative reporter. How did this UFO thing suddenly come into your life?
It was really a quirk. One day, John Lear walks into the news station, this is in 1987, with a stack of documents, UFO documents, and he plops them on Ned Day's desk, and he says, Ned, this is the biggest story you will ever cover in your life. It's about a cover-up of massive proportions. You're going to become famous. You got to do this story. He pushes the documents over, and Ned starts reading them, and he pushes the pile back, and he tells Lear, this can't be true. If this was true, this UFO cover-up, then I'd already know about it, he says. I'm eavesdropping, as I tend to do. And I said, Mr. Lear, let me take a look at that stuff. And I said, John, you want to do this show? And I put him on, and I just let him go.
I'll give you the bottom line.
Okay.
I'm not trying to sell it.
I want to hear your thesis.
I'm not trying to sell a book. I'm not trying to promote a lecture. This is based on what I've come across after intense research in the last year. And I have found out that the government has retrieved between 10 and 15 actual flying saucers, 3 of which have been in perfect condition, 1 of which they tried to fly. They have between 30 and 50 alien bodies in cryogenic storage. We even have the name of the person whose job it is to show these bodies to the heads of state and the people who are authorized to see them. They represent at least 5 different civilizations.
Yeah, so it's sort of, it's wild
God,
stuff.
This is just like what Grush is saying.
Yeah, I know, what was so interesting that they were talking about this like 25 years ago. It just wasn't getting the same kind of coverage it is today.
Well, and it's interesting that the reaction was the same 25 years ago that it is today, where we're having people say, this can't be true, because if it was really actually happening, I'd know about it. Right.
It was the same thing, but no social media back then, so it didn't spread as quickly. It took a long time. The stories would air in Vegas. Sometimes they'd air like in Japan, and other places would pick them up, but it was just a different time. He was really brave in a lot of ways, because it was more taboo back then, really, to talk about. So it was, you know, it took a lot to get these things on TV back then.
All right, interesting. The special is on Sunday night. At 9 o'clock Eastern.
Eastern, yes.
8 o'clock Central.
That's right.
All right. Thanks so much, Brian.
Thanks, Elizabeth.